There we are. I think we're live.
Good. Yay.
Live?
Technology.
Yay?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll go check it out.
You're so good. Hello, everyone. We're back. We're still alive. It's been a month since, I started eating again. I'm Eve Mayer of Fasting.fyi, and you are?
I'm Megan Ramos of the IDM program, which is short for Intensive Dietary Management.
Megan is brilliant. I did a 10-day fast at the beginning of the year, and Megan coached me through it. You can check that out at fasting.fyi/TEN. And we did a little recap after the fast, the 10 days. And now here we are about a month after the fast has ended. I don't have really specific things for us to talk about except for questions that people have sent me and asked me. And I thought Megan could also chime in here on her experience with all of her patients, all the people she works with. And so as I've promised you guys, I will tell you the truth. Some of it's great, some of it's not. So one of the main questions I've gotten is during the fast, I lost 9.5 pounds. Right after, I think I gained 2 pounds back. And people have been asking me, have you gained all the way back? Have you kept the weight off? And I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't know. Megan suggested that I stopped weighing. So I stopped weighing, and for a while I kind of freaked out about it. And then I felt really good about it. And then I was like, oh my God, I've gained 20 pounds. But all I can tell you is that yesterday I put on my red dress. I don't know if you watch day 10, right? Go back and watch the 10th day. I wore my inappropriately tight red dress for all of you that I ordered it on Amazon for like 20 bucks. And all I can tell you is that yesterday, the dress fit the same in the boobs and was way looser here. So it was looser in the tummy and on the sides. It didn't have that thing where it like pulls and makes the wrinkles. It was like actually moving and like probably allowed me to breathe, which I was kind of disappointed about. But what I take that to mean is, I don't know what my weight is, but I have done more CrossFit than I've ever done in my life, which, before I was doing zero. And my body is changing. So it seems like my stomach, my hips are a little smaller. My butt is about the same. I want to say it's bigger, but let's deal with reality. It's probably not. And my chest has stayed the same, and I'm very thankful for that. So I decided to come on today to give you like a side view, to give you more of a view. I'm wearing my size 8 jeans, which I got into during the fast, and they still zip up. Even like, if you really push it, a little area right there. See, not much of a butt, but let's pretend like there's one there. I'm working on it. Did a lot of squats today. And so I thought about weighing because a lot of you have asked me what weight I gained. I decided against it because mentally for me right now, I'm in a pretty good place and I don't want to lose that. I do plan on getting a DEXA scan in March, and we will set up a call and I'll report how that's changed. But I have been feeling pretty hot and feeling pretty good, and decided not to weigh. So Megan, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your experience. I know that you say the scale is crap, but some people really like the scale and it helps them, and some people really hate it and it makes them crazy. I think I'm a person who it makes crazy. And so my goal this year is to eventually get to a 29%. It can even be 29.9% body fat. Last time I was like 34.6, something like that. And so I'm going to strive for that. Part of it is because I never expected to be in the 180s, which is where I'm probably around right now. My ultimate goal was 195. So honestly, the fact that now it's been almost a year I've been in the 180s is astounding to me because I didn't think I was capable of it. But now I want to shift from looking at the weight to like being healthier, maintaining a range, and stop being obsessed with the scale. And personally, I'm starting to become happier. What are your thoughts? What's been your experience with different people and how they respond to a scale or measurements? What are your thoughts?
Some people are just really emotionally attached to it, and some people aren't. Like, I weight train and I am actively trying to gain muscle. I want to be a mom, and right now I carry my friends' kids and I'm like, oh my God. so tired, take your trials back. And so I'm trying to gain muscle mass, which means the scale is going to go up. And I get it. And it does go up, and that's great, because the other day I was wearing shorts while we were watching TV, and I'm like, ooh, like I've got definition in my legs, and like there was no differentiation before between the different muscles in my legs, and now there is. So, but you know, it's actually taken me a long time to get to that point. I think people like weighing themselves because it's a marker that they can track for success. And I really encourage people to find other markers to utilize for success, because that's really what they want, right? They want to see an improvement overall. And that improvement is really motivating. You know, when you're making such huge changes in your life, and ones that sometimes your family and friends don't understand and think you're crazy, you need some sort of confirmation that, like, hey, this is working, I'm getting results. You know, I'm struggling through carb addiction, first of all, which is like heroin addiction. But the problem is carbs are freaking everywhere, and everyone, including like the food guidelines in Canada and the United States and everywhere else in the world, are encouraging you to eat them. Whereas if you're a heroin addict, no one tries to get you to do heroin, and you can't find it like at every single store you go to. It's really tough to find heroin, I imagine. I don't
Please, as the quote of the show, Megan Ramos said, it is really tough to find heroin. Please continue, Megan.
I think so, anyways. So it's tough, but not with carbs. So it's a constant battle. I can't tell you how many patients tell me how they wish that they were an alcoholic rather than a carb addict, because at least
because it's cooler. I wish I was an alcoholic instead of a carb addict. I wish I was a smoker instead of a carb addict, because you don't obviously wear that on your body in front of people, and it seems cooler. And I'm not trying to offend people who struggle with this issue and not this issue. I'm sure I cannot understand the pain of those issues, and they probably can't understand the pain of these issues, but it's so more socially acceptable to do some of those things and kind of has a cool factor. Whereas if you are addicted to carbs, you walk around with that story on your body all the time.
Even like if you're a recovering alcoholic. And so I have a cousin who's a recovering alcoholic. And so at holidays, you know, there are like, when he was newly recovering, like our family made a huge effort, like, okay, we're gonna have a dry Christmas, you know, just because he's recovering. And now he's a few, like several years actually into his recovery, and we can have wine out at Christmas, and it's cool and it's comfortable. But like when he was immediately going through his recovery, like we all team together to support him. When you're trying to quit carbs and you tell someone you don't want cake, you know, at a birthday, they think you're mental, and they try to encourage you to drink it. Like when you have someone who's a newly recovering alcoholic, or even someone who's recovered from alcoholism 20 years ago, you don't try to force them to have a drink or say, oh, come on, dude, just take one sip. Like no one does that to an alcoholic. And so carb addicts are just constantly peer pressured by their families, colleagues, friends, sometimes spouses. I had a patient a couple of weeks ago. He said his wife got so mad at him and said, if you love me, you'll eat cake with me. And I'm like, what the heck is that? He's just like, she's a carb addict too. So he's like, he's trying to get it, but he had to put his foot down. And I'm like, wow. Like, and I mean, they've been married for a really long time. They're an older couple. They've got 4 kids. And like, this is, it's people say things like that. And or it's just tough. I feel bad for it, because, you know, I've got such a, you know, to hell with everybody attitude when it comes to my own health. And I think that's just because I grew up watching people die, like from in my family, and then joining the nephrology team when I was 15 doing research. I started to love all these patients on dialysis, but then their life expectancy is 3 to 5 years, depending on whether they're diabetic or not. So then I watched all these people that I love die. So when it comes to my own health, no, Mom, take your bag of pretzels, do whatever the heck you want with them, but I'm not going to eat them because it's Christmas Day, and I can't. I should, because it's Christmas Day. but I understand people don't, it's tough. And, you know, my mom's not mean back to me, whereas some people are genuinely mean. So you've got all this controversy, right, about what you're doing, and you need some sort of proof that you're doing well. And, you know, sometimes we lose weight from all over. So it's not like your waist goes like this overnight. You lose a little bit here and a little bit there. So we use the scale to give us some sort of confirmation that, yes, what we're doing is right. And it's tough for us too. So when you see results, you're more motivated. I had the privilege of being able to do my blood test results whenever I wanted, which was great for me. And I would do them weekly sometimes because I could see the progress in my numbers. And that honestly motivated me to get through some fast and to not eat some French fries, you know, when they were around, and, you know, skip the pizza lunch at work for going away party for somebody. Those blood test results, being able to have that marker. So really the scale is your total body weight. And like, I've been there. I'm 5 feet tall. I lie. I think I say I'm 5'1" or something. Sometimes I say I'm 5'3", but I'm really like 5 feet tall. And I've been almost 200 pounds, and I've been 90 pounds or 97 pounds, and I've been obese at both weights. And I felt like garbage at both weights. And I'm like I'm 115 pounds right now. I have less fat than I did at 97 pounds. I have more energy. I mean, my life's a little wacky, and I often don't know what time zone I'm in or country. So sometimes I look like this. But I can cope with it. I don't think I could have coped with all of the craziness that my life is a few years ago when I was, you know, skinny fat, or several years ago when I was obese, morbidly obese all around. So it's really about body composition. So I would think really taking your measurements is really key, and then tallying them up. And you'll see, okay, maybe you lost 1/4 of an inch here, maybe 1/4 of an inch here, maybe 1/2 inch around your waist. But when you add up all these places, your waist, your hips, your thighs, your calves, your, you know, your triceps and your biceps, I mean, you can see like 6 inches gone. Like, that's a 1/2 foot of like fat inches gone. And I think it's really important to measure all these spots on your body and get your data that way and use that as your marker of success. So when I talk to people in office, of course, I can measure my patients in office, but I've worked with a lot of people online too, and I can't measure them through Zoom. So I ask them how their clothes are fitting, just like you said with your red dress. Like, I don't know what I weigh, but I've got all this wiggle room around my waist. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's plenty of inches lost. So if you're someone that needs to have a number, and needs to track, and I'm a scientist, so I totally get it. Like, I need data. Data supports my missions in life with everything. So I'm someone that geeks out over checking my glucose and ketone levels and tracking my macros. But taking your measurements is really, really important. So I would use that as confirmation. I think the scale's just giving you confirmation that you're making progress and that you're doing something good for you. So get a measuring tape at the dollar store for like 99 cents. And let that be your friend, and measure all over, and then tally up the total number of inches that you've lost.
Thank you, Megan. I want to talk about goals a little bit more. And when Megan's talking about the way you measure, you have to be honest with yourself about what's going to make you crazy, what's not going to make you crazy, because we all have our own brand of crazy. At least I certainly do. One thing I did last year for the first time is I joined a friend for the Crew of Chewbacca's Mardi Gras Parade. And what that is a Mardi Gras parade with a bunch of nerdy people who dress up as their favorite character and march through the streets of New Orleans. And I did it last year. And for me, I find if I have a goal that pushes something that's going to focus on my body or my fitness, it helps me for a short period of time or for a couple of months before that. So last year, 2017, when I first started eating low carb, one of my first goals was I wanted to lose 10 pounds, right? I wanted to start in January, and by the mid of February, when I first started, I wanted to lose 10 pounds. So I wanted to go from 225 to 215, and my reward would be to wear a Wonder Woman costume that was really tight and cute, but also like covered the tops of my arms and issue areas like the tops of my thighs. So I wore that, and I promised myself I would wear it and I would feel good about myself. Honestly, the feeling good about myself part was way harder than finding the costume that put everything in the right place. So I did that last year at around 2:15. This year, I wore the same costume with the cape. I got the bustier taken, tied up and made smaller. That was really like rewarding and exciting. And probably now the skirt actually fit appropriately. So I wore that this year. I know that I'm probably about around 30 pounds smaller, more muscular. And I promised myself I would do it again and feel great about myself. And not only did I do that, I walked in this parade in 5-inch Wonder Woman heels. And I learned the choreographed dance at 45 years old. And I danced my ass off through the streets of New Orleans with friends and hundreds of other Wonder Womans. And it was an incredible experience. One of the things I want to talk about is I've heard so many people talk online or reach out to me and like feel so bad about themselves. And I don't want to give you the same old line of you're worth it no matter what weight, you can feel good about yourself. But I do think that when I started on this journey, I couldn't wait until I was a perfect weight to feel worthy of kindness to myself. So I'm never going to get to the perfect weight. Like, to me right now, this is my perfect weight. This is where I'm at right now, and I dig it. I have to make sure that I stopped the self crappy talk in my head, the fact that I wasn't worth the time to exercise, the fact that I didn't deserve to eat, all these terrible things that I said to myself. And maybe you've never experienced that. But if you do, you kind of have to decide that I'm good enough and I'm worth kindness to myself. I'm worth love to myself before you start on this journey. I don't think you can say, I will be worth it when I get to 150 or this body fat percentage or whatever, because who knows what your journey will be? Who knows if you're going to get there and keep on going? You deserve kindness from others and to yourself today, this moment, right now, because life is short and everything else is just crap. So I had to get to that point before I started. Honestly, I had to struggle with getting to that point when I was 300 pounds, 260 pounds, 250 pounds, 240 pounds. I'd have to always remind myself and get to the point where I stopped treating myself inside my head like crap. So I just want to get across the point that try to be a little nicer to yourself. Try to treat yourself the way you would treat someone you love, your child, your husband, your best friend. If you can be that kind to that person, you should be that kind to yourself. And who knows what your goal is actually going to end up being. But it's going to take a while probably, and you deserve kindness from yourself the whole time. Megan, do you have any tips on that? Or I mean, I don't think I'm alone in treating myself like crap. I think it takes practice.
So I have got some wise parents who have definitely made their own goofy mistakes in life. But when I was in my early 20s, I had made a bad judgment call, and it was a very expensive bad judgment call, and it sucked. And I thought like my life was over. I didn't get out of bed for like 3 days. And finally my father walked into my room and he's like, what the hell? And he's like, Megan, everybody screws up. Everybody tries something and gives it their all and fails at it. And what defines you as a person is how you pick yourself back up. And that day I got up, I'm like, he's right. I'm going to fall and I'm going to try something, give it my all, and it's going to fail. And I got up and I took a shower and I started and, tried something else, and my problem was resolved within a few months and the world didn't end. And, I apply that to my diet. It's hard. I've tried diets in the past, obviously, and they didn't work, and I gave it my all. And I felt really, really bad about myself. Like I'm broken. We've been talking about that lately, like feeling this like broken or something's wrong. And it's like, no, like I'm meant to be healthy. I'm meant to have a healthy body composition. My body wants me to be healthy. It's not fighting me on this. So just because that diet didn't work didn't mean wasn't my fault or that I failed. I just got to try something else now. And the only thing that's going to make me, suck is if I don't try something else and I'm not open-minded about it. And, it's not our our fault that our diet's a certain way, or our environment too. Like I was talking about earlier about how, people try to shove cake down your mouth at your birthday party and they don't get it. And cake's going to happen sometimes at birthday parties, and gingerbread's going to happen sometimes at Christmas, and pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. These things are going to happen, and what sort of defines you is how you care, what you do next. Do you just go into the kitchen and finish that cake because you feel bad about having one piece, or do you say, okay, I had that cake and now I'm going to drink a lot of water, and tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and have bacon and eggs and avocado and then a cup of broth, and then I'm going to fast for 24 or 36 hours. And I think it's really important to understand that you're human, and everything that you've done up until this point, in terms of trying to lose weight and maintain that weight loss, has been based on some really terrible advice by people created by people with really deep pockets that have a vested interest in you failing. And it's not your fault that it didn't work out. So I think it's really important to be kind to yourself, because I've done it. I've done Weight Watchers, and I've followed the Canadian Food Guide, and I've done the lowest calorie restriction diet I think you could, to the point where my own period stopped. And nothing worked. And I thought I hated myself. Like, I was so mad at myself. Patients get so mad at themselves too. They think that, there's something wrong with them, and that they're just destined to this life. And they're so cruel to themselves, but it's really not them. It's just really poor advice that we've been given. So, my attitude was, okay, I can continue to be this weight and be grumpy and have all this self-loathing because of it. Or I can say I was given really bad advice, and I tried it and it didn't work. And now I'm going to try something else new, and give yourself that forgiveness to try something else new, because it could have really positive rewards. I don't know if that helps, or if I just.
It absolutely helps. I mean, I'm tired. I grew tired of treating myself like crap and treating everyone else in my life so marvelously. I think this is something that particularly women do a lot. Not to say that men don't either, but I see it a lot more with women sometimes than I do with men, putting everybody in front of themselves and not taking care of themselves and not doing what they need to do. And so, speaking about cake, I had my 45th birthday a couple of days ago. I had a piece of cake. I got 2 pieces of cake. Luna, my daughter, and I sat there and ate it. And I know if you're not where I am right now, you're not going to believe this, because I would have thought this is baloney too. And I ate it, and it was good, but it wasn't as good as it used to be. It was really freaking sweet, which would have been a really good thing in the past, but it just wasn't as good as it used to be. I am shocked. Now look, it's been over a year of eating this way. And look, during Christmas, I ate plenty of sugar, and it tasted just like it needed to. But this particular piece of cake didn't really do it for me, and I didn't finish it. The next day, there was still some in the fridge, and I heated it up in the microwave and had 2 bites, and it tasted good. And then it was done. I enjoyed it, but I have really had to retrain myself in this new life on how to treat myself, on how to entertain my family, on how to spoil myself without food. My life has been centered around food, and I make money, and I am successful, and I want to treat myself. So now I've started to focus more on spas. I'm going to have a custom made Wonder Woman outfit made next year, and it's going to be tight, and it will be custom made just for me. I will be the only Wonder Woman in that outfit. I had my makeup this year and last year professionally done, and the band for Wonder Woman painted on, and it was a lot of money, but I would have spent that $100 on food, and now I'm spending it on something like the makeup artist came with a suitcase to my hotel. I was at a posh hotel. It was baller. And I felt fantastic. I'm making those choices to spend money on entertainment or nurturing myself, or a trip for my daughter and I, which I just booked this afternoon, feels incredible. Tonight with my family, I told my husband, we've kind of had a stressful couple of weeks in a few areas, and I wanted to go out and do something tonight. And I am still learning how to plan something with my family that is not just, let's go out and eat pizza. Let's go out and have ice cream. Let's deal with this stress with, something that will make us feel great right away. So we had to sit there and go, okay, our choices tonight for family entertainment are, okay, we'll have dinner, but we're going to go bowling, or we're going to go roller skating, or we're going to play video games. And I'm really trying to learn how to do some things physically. There's a lot of families that I know go skiing together or go water skiing together or whatever. We didn't do that so much, right? Like we tried a little bit of it, but it was mostly eating. And I'm still trying, even at over a year into this, to reprogram my life. And still, I'm a foodie forever. I'm always going to be a foodie. I love food and it's fantastic and it's great entertainment. But now that I do it about 1/5 of the time that I used to do it, I need to find new ways to treat my family well and treat myself well. How do you take patients through that journey? How do they find new things to occupy the time that they used to maybe spend all their time eating on?
I feel like a lot of the patients that I work with, the biggest thing is the stress eating at first. So we talk about what relaxes them, what enjoys them, and we sort of, it's just a personal conversation. It's so different for everybody. Some people, you know, they used to have this hobby of like antiquing, not antiquing, like when you have an older piece of furniture and you refinish it. I have this one lady, she actually opened a really successful business and then quit her regular job because she started doing that in her garage as a way of stress release from her regular job. You know, or Epsom salt, like everybody's got a different budget. So Epsom salt baths, like you can get a huge tub of Epsom salt at Costco, and you know, a little bottle of lavender oil at, you know, your local CVS or your local grocery or pharmacy, and use that, and it's nice and relaxing. Meditation, which is free, and you can get all these great apps that help guide you through that. Or I'm very much like Eve, and I sought comfort in the spa, and I justified it. I'm like, okay, I didn't spend $100 on junk food this week, so I can go get a massage, yeah, and justify it like that, and reward yourself with other things, and sort of talk about the patients, like what really resonates with them. And for everybody, it's different. So I think I'm more similar to Eve. I've treated myself at certain milestones to like a nice pair of Stuart Weitzman boots. I just hit a body fat goal of mine, so I'm treating myself to eyebrows. I'll explain later. But like these other things, whereas before I would have wanted to go and eat a pizza or something like that. But it's finding something that's special to you. My husband hit a goal recently that he wanted to, and he's really into indoor rock climbing, and his equipment's kind of old, and so he treated himself with a new pair of rock climbing shoes and a membership to a rock climbing gym and some other new rock climbing equipment. I just started, so I don't know what the heck all this stuff's called, as something. And then that's great because now when he fasts, or, you know, when he's having a bad day, he can go rock climbing because he finds that to be a great stress relief. So it's really different for everybody. So just having these conversations, and it's so crazy because we are so busy. And when you ask someone simply, what do they like to do? Like they forget because it's been so long since they like to do anything, because they just, life is busy and it's just really easy to eat for comfort. You can pick up, you know, McDonald's in the drive-thru on the way home and eat that, and, you know, have your neurotransmitters make you feel temporarily relieved and relaxed. And then you're home and it's something easy that you can do. But self-care actually takes a little bit more effort. I was having a really stressful day about a month ago, and I just find like baths and showers really relaxing. And I think throughout the day, it took like 3 showers. Like 3-minute showers. Like, I'm not destroying the planet, guys, but that 3 minutes in the shower like brought me back down to normal till I opened the next email fury and wanted to go take another shower. So it's just, we just have these conversations, and I encourage people, I'm like, go home, think what you like, think what other ways you can reward yourself. I had, we talked about booking a trip with Luna. I had a patient a few years ago, and so much of her stress was that she was just so busy with work. She didn't spend a lot of time with her son, and they were having like a terrible relationship. And he was around 12 years old. She's a single mom. And I said, well, now, you know, she's would struggle at business meetings, like at Starbucks, not to buy cookies and stuff in the lineup. And I'm like, every time you don't buy a cookie, take that $2 and put it in a jar, and then
They're like
save.
$3.50 or $5 now, not $2. It's crazy.
It's been a long time since I bought a cookie. But like, put it in a jar, and then why don't you and your son go somewhere? And I said, and if you're not taking lunch, put, $30 in a jar. If you're not, don't go out for lunch with everybody when they're going out to a restaurant, because you would have spent $30 or more probably. Put that in a jar. Work through lunch. Then you're getting ahead at work, so you're going to be able to take that time off and relax. And so she started having these incredibly productive work days, getting ahead of work rather than being behind in work, saving money. And like every 4 months, she was able to go away with her son. They went to Cuba, they went to Mexico, they went to Florida, and they started to have fun. And because she wasn't always behind at work and stressed out, like she wasn't coming home wanting to argue with him anymore. It was just so great for their relationship. So they go on all these trips. Yeah.
Well, Luna and I just booked a trip to New York. She'd never been to New York before, so we're doing that for spring break. And tonight we're going bowling. So here's how we're dealing with our family travel and things. And so we're going to wrap up. I just want to remind you, if you want to find out more about Megan and about IDM, please go to idmprogram.com, sign up for their newsletter, check them out on social media. They support people who are doing fasting for better health in all areas and all levels of what kind of support you need. And then you can check us out at fastinglane.com, see the 10-day fast at fasting.fyi/TEN. So a couple things. For those of you who have asked, Eve, when is your next 10-day fast? Y'all, probably never. I do not like it. I really don't. I think that everybody has to find their own way. And I think intermittent fasting is my way. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. So most of you were there and heard about the crying and the hormonal issues and all that. And I am pretty happy not eating breakfast in the morning or doing a 24-hour fast or doing a 36-hour fast. And it took me a little bit after that 10-day fast to get back to doing fasting really at all. Now I'm back a little bit. Had a couple of days where I went off, it was my birthday or we did something. But it was interesting when we were in New Orleans, one day I just ran out of time. And in the past, I would have freaked out and been like, oh no, I'm about to walk in this 4-hour parade I didn't eat for the past, since this morning or whatever. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll just do a 24-hour fast. And it was fine. Now, I'm not going to say it was actually a pure 24-hour fast because there may have been 2 shots of tequila that night. But other than that, it was a 24-hour fast. So I want to give you one thing to do tonight. And what I want you to do is about the thing that Megan and I were talking earlier about accepting yourself for where you are and giving yourself some kindness. So this is just something I do. I stand in front of a full-length mirror, sometimes with clothes on and sometimes not. This part is up to you, right? Alone, right? Okay, alone in front of a full-length mirror. And I pick out 2 things I like about myself. And what starts to happen in my brain is I go, oh, Eve, your hips are, no, shut up. I tell myself to shut up. Oh, Eve, your butt's, no, shut up. And I say to myself, Eve, you have incredible hair. Like this hair is really extraordinary and gorgeous. I say it in my head, not out loud. If you want to, that's fine too. And then I look for a second thing. And you'll notice that at first your brain, if you're like me, will keep on trying to tell you all the cruddy things about yourself. And I want you to ignore it. I want you to practice and pick 2 things about you that are amazing. I don't care if it's your big toe. I don't care what it is. Something physical. Because as people, we talk about it's all what's in the inside, but this carries us around. And it's okay to actually like something and be kind to your body. So I want you to stand in front of a mirror tonight and pick out 2 things that are fantastic. And when you start to bubble up with these negative things, I want you to shove it back. Do you think people will do this, Megan?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's an incredibly important exercise to do.
I'm going to practice right now. Look at this hair. It is incredible. Also, Megan, look at this rack. It's amazing. I am 45 and it is fantastic. So see, that's all you got to do. We're not going to talk about the other things that I have doubts about. All right, Megan, any last words before we sign off?
No, be kind to yourself, and really consistency is key, so every day is a new day, and if you have a bad day before, don't feel bad. Just remind yourself what defines you. Everybody has bad food days. So what defines you is how you move on for that. Do you binge eat on KFC for a week because you feel bad about having one bad dinner out? Or do you wake up and have bacon and eggs and avocado and start that day great? Start Saturday off fantastic. So be kind to yourself. Just keep everything in the big picture. You're going to have bad days, so don't let them beat you up. And the more consistently you get back on the wagon after having bad days or unideal meals or not taking that Epsom salt bath and going for pizza instead when you're stressed out, just remember, just the more often that you do it and you wake up the next morning and you have the bacon and eggs and avocado or whatever your fatty morning choice is, you're going to get those results, and you're going to get to that point where the cake just doesn't taste as good as it used to. And so just keep trying. So you keep working at it, and eventually you'll get there. I think I'm scattered tonight. I don't know. It's been a long week.
And will you come back with me in a month so we can let people know what we're up to? And I think in a month we might have a big announcement to make, and we might tell people some places we're going to be that you can see us. Would that work for you?
Sounds great.
All right, everybody have a fabulous weekend. Bye, Megan.
Bye, everyone.